Okay, so what have I been doing today? I've been looking at my antler pieces and trying to choose the largest ones for billets. So, I also got some sheep horn, just as a side note. I chopped this off here for a couple of shaft straighteners. So I think the horn was about that much longer, 5 inches more than this. Anyway, I'll be able to chop this part of the horn off here and try to replicate a sheep horn flint knapping tool that I saw in a book, and I'll show pictures of it. This is thick enough here, but you can see how it tapers down very similar to every other horn, to very thin near the skull, very thick near the point. If I hadn't chopped the top off, I could have, probably made a longer flint knapping tool, that sort of thing. Okay, I've looked through all my stuff. This is just my bin of antler pieces. I got a few more pieces laying around somewhere, but not full antlers. I chopped them down a few days ago to more manageable sizes, and I came up with these as the largest whitetail antler beams that I have. Okay, this is modified, quite a bit. A lot of it is shaved down and smoothened out. It's very smooth in the hand and all that, so I've already used that one. This one's got minimal modification. Just, you can still see the saw marks from cutting off the tines and all that. And I just sanded down this part that I'll be hitting with on the bifaces. And this large whitetail antler tine is a shed tine. I keep saying tine. Antler. It's a large whitetail shed antler. The other piece was here. Chop that off. And this is my largest swinging billet, other than an old one I have, which is elk antler, which is a spike elk antler. Alright, now I like this one the best for a billet because it can develop the most speed. It's the longest. It's not curved. This one's not curved. It develops a very good swing for speed. So when I really need a good billet, I'll break this one out for trouble spots and for damage control. But for normal knapping, I think this one will work, even though it's a little bit lighter than the brown antler, which is cut from the skull and not shed. This one actually feels about as heavy as this one. Although you can see quite a bit of difference. There's an optical illusion there. Oh, I like these. Alright, so anyway, if you compare the length this way, it's more accurate. Alright. But they feel about the same weight. But I can develop more speed with a longer billet. And I've found that with this particular technique, with swinging billets or long billets, speed is important. Okay. And why is speed important with these long swinging billets? Because the mass at the tip of the billet is very small, so it can deflect easily. When you're hitting, it deflects. If you hold it further up, closer to the tip of the billet, it doesn't deflect as easily because you have momentum and inertia from your hand backing it up, so it drives with more momentum. When you've got your hand way back here, this deflection is more of an issue. But if you speed it up, that bounce or that deflection still occurs, but you're imparting more force inward with more speed. So the speed compensates for the lack of inward force when using a swinging billet that will deflect off the workpiece. Okay. So I was thinking of making a hammer. Another side note. This is a hammer, right? Using a piece of antler, cutting it, drilling a hole, mounting it like a hammer to hammer with on these bifaces, and I would get the same effect with more mass behind the swing, so you're not getting it too much of a deflection or bounce. That might be later. It's not going to be that difficult. I'll just drill like a 1/2 inch hole and put a 1/2 inch dowel in here, and I can make an easy hammer with the antler. But I don't have time today, so I'm just going to use the swinging billets for this next biface. All right, here we go. Now this was the last one that I just did. Let's see. This previous video. Now this one wasn't a video before. I'm kind of hazy or fuzzy on the details. I don't know where or what video this was. But anyway, I'm going to try to thin this one down today. See what happens. Okay. And yep, natural tools again today. I should be uploading these to my Allergic Hobbit channel also, but nah. I showed copper in this one. I showed a copper hammer. I showed other stuff. Right? I don't know. I showed a copper hammer. I can't post it to my Allergic Hobbit channel. It would be sacrilege. All right. This time I'm going to swing. This last video I was not swinging this very much and not developing or allowing the swinging motion to develop more power at the end of the swing. I was holding it a little bit like I normally hold a billet. So I need to shift totally into the swinging billet mode, so to speak. Okay? I should have probably thought about this a little bit better before I started. You know, I need to grind these at a better angle because I'll be swinging. I don't want to hit the sides this way. Let's see. Yeah, this one, I mean, I can generate some power with this one. So maybe I'll just use this one. I don't know. Let's see. I don't want to waste this one. I had drilled a hole in here previously so I could use it as a pressure flaker, as an easy stick. But today what I did was I just glued in a piece of antler into that hole, sanded it down. It does give a little bit more weight to this pithy elk antler. This is an indirect percussion flaker with a little ledge on here to remove flakes. Anyway, when are you gonna start napping? Yeah, hopefully soon. All right. I'm gonna make sure my surfaces are completely convex. Two lessons learned in the last video: more speed and more convexity to the surfaces. I'm nervous about this. I'm not accurate with this. Let's see. I'm not going to be accurate, I can tell already. I'm much more accurate the closer I get to the tip. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go for it anyway. All right. Didn't go anywhere. I hit a little bit too high up and downward. You know, it was too high up on the platform and I was hitting downward too fast, or too hard downward. All right. Trying to creep up on it slowly, swinging until it hits. Just inching up or moving up slowly so I don't overstrike it. Now this might have some issues with the obsidian itself, with the layers. That should have gone easily. That should have flaked quite easily. Like that. Let's see. I'm going to put my finger up here. I can't swing it like this. I'm going to have to put my finger up here. Classic soft hammer mistake. When you take a bite out, it's a classic soft hammer mistake. Unfortunately, those will always happen with soft hammers. I'm reducing the speed just because I don't want another bite, but I'm going to eventually increase the speed once I get used to this. Not too bad, but I don't know why it stopped. No reason for it to stop that way. Unless it's a different consistency or something weird in the material. My fingers were not on it. My fingers are up here. I'm going to have to change the angle. I'm too downward with it. I'm going to have to pick up the angle to here. All right, let's see. Yeah, better. So I'm hitting more into the piece, into the workpiece. Instead of downward, I'm hitting more into the workpiece. Which kind of makes me nervous because that's an overshot waiting to happen. Now, why didn't I do this billet work before? It's because I used indirect percussion to substitute or in place of this type of reduction. This is so much more inaccurate than indirect percussion. It's just, if I wasn't purposely doing this just to learn it, just to get familiar with it, if that wasn't my excuse, this would be driving me absolutely insane. It's so inaccurate that I would not have tolerance for it on a normal day. But today I'm trying to learn it. See, like, that is inexcusable for me on a normal day. I would say, the first time that would happen, I would say, that's it. No more of this. Try to swing the billet. There's no excuse for that. Other than, I just don't know how to do it. But I would just put it aside and say, no, it's not worth it. Mistakes like that are not worth it. Switch to indirect percussion right away, or you're going to lose a lot of width and all that stuff. You're going to lose the overall design. You're going to mess up your sequence. You're supposed to develop your preform in accordance with the final product. And if you get something like that, that messes up the stages that you have to go through. If it's not in line with the stages, like if it has to be wide there and you don't keep it wide, what are you going to do? You're going to have to switch to a different kind of point, different kind of end result or end product. Not acceptable. Okay, but today we're learning that's a lot of width to lose for just that little bit of benefit. But anyway, I'm not going to be complaining. I'm just saying, well, I am complaining. I don't want to be complaining. I'm just saying that was a lot to pay in width for that little benefit there. So yeah, I'd rather hit a very small platform like that as pretty much imitating an indirect percussion strike. But it takes time. I had to really focus on that one. And I'm getting a lot of bites taking out of the edge. It is thinning it down, but I'm paying a high price in width. And the ultimate price in breakage. But let's just see what the width to thickness ratio was. Come on. Okay, that's 58. Right? Almost 58. Let's just call it 58. 9 where that lump is, but right where it cracked, it's about a 6 millimeter, maybe 8. So 6 up to 9 millimeter. So average that, because it did snap at the thinner area. Let's see. Yeah, 7 in the 58. 7 in the 56 is 8 to 1. I can still make something out of it. You know, it's not a total loss. I just have something thin and narrow. Thin and narrow. But it puts a lot of stress. If you don't hit it right, it puts a lot of stress in the bending this way. It'll bend this way. It's not bending much at all in this direction. It's bending in this direction. As you can see by a lot of these bites taken out, there's a lot of pressure grabbing the edge and pulling it. A lot of force grabbing the edge and pulling it when I'm using this as an inexperienced person. Because of the inaccuracy. Now, as I improve in accuracy, I will approach the benefit that I receive when I'm doing indirect percussion, right? So what benefit would it be to use a billet instead of indirect percussion? Maybe simplification. It's just one tool instead of a flaker and a mallet. You're combining it into one tool. So simplification would be one benefit to this. But we'll see. Next video I'm going to be doing this Keokuk spall. All right.